Hello everybody and welcome to Telegraph Sport's Rugby World Cup predictor with me, Charles Richardson, a rugby reporter at Telegraph Sport, and our columnist and former England and Lions international, Brian Moore. Welcome,
Hello.
Brian.
Hello.
Hello. Right, so let's get straight into it then. We're running through the pool stages here and we'll kick off with Group A, which is a group of death of sorts, not the bona fide group of death, Brian, you wouldn't say, but a tricky one.
It's a terrible phrase, that, isn't it, group of death.
It is.
Group of not quite so good.
Yeah.
Look, the New Zealand and France, it could go, the pressure that France will be under if they don't perform well could be inhibiting. However, if they play well, even if they were to lose the first game and the groundswell of opinion in France supports them, it'd be a very invigorating factor. So, in the long term, the winners or losers of this pool are not as important necessarily as the other ones.
Absolutely, and obviously France favourites with the bookies, but New Zealand looking very good at the minute, in very good nick. And obviously always dangerous as underdogs, which they will be with the bookies, I think, at that first game.
Completely, but if you look at, top two, probably, almost certainly.
Yeah.
Top two there, Ireland. It's a toss-up, which one you would want to play anyway.
Quite.
So, in a sense, as I said, normally it's really important whether you come first or second. In this case, you're going to have a really difficult game anyway. So it's actually probably when the things swap over later on, it might be an advantage. This side of the pool is very difficult to go into the other side, which is from second rather than first.
So that opening game then at the Stade de France, New Zealand against France, the winner will top the pool. Who are you going for?
I will go for France.
France to win that first game. Okay. So then we'll say New Zealand to beat Italy and the rest to come second.
Yes.
Okay. Italy to beat the rest to come third.
Yes.
And then Uruguay v Namibia.
Well, again, it's a toss-up. But by the time you get to the end of the tournament, at the end of the pool stages, there'll be injuries. There might have been disciplinary matters. Who's got the biggest squad? It's almost impossible. That's probably what.
I mean, Uruguay have a fantastic scrum half in France, Santiago Arata. Okay, Group B. Now, another horrible phrase, but it is the pool of death, really. South Africa, Ireland, Scotland, poor Tonga, poor Romania. How do you see this one going, Brian?
I've learnt to my cost not to bet against South Africa. They are very bloody minded. Ireland, it might be the World Cup, and hopefully, if you're Irish, the World Cup that they do perform at. Because if you look at their previous World Cups, relative to their strengths going into the World Cup, their return has been really poor.
Yeah, never beyond a quarter-final.
No, exactly. And again, we come down to which of these do you want to play? Neither. You don't want to play either.
No.
If you want to. But I would put South Africa first, Ireland second.
South Africa first, Ireland second, and Scotland not to upset the apple cart at all?
Probably not.
Okay.
Although, if the game goes South Africa's way, then Ireland-Scotland becomes quite interesting.
Exactly, and sort of a lot of pressure on Ireland. If Finn Russell turns up, starts pulling strings, it could get a bit nervy.
It could
on the Emerald Isle, it really could. Okay, Group C.
You don't want to be in that side of the draw.
No,
it's very simple.
No. Now we're on to the much more sort of comfortable side of the draw, aren't we? Relatively speaking.
Relatively.
Okay, Wales, Australia, Fiji, Georgia, and poor Portugal. But
well, look, I mean, Georgia will be good up front. They always are. That will take them a certain way. However, there's a lot of store on this particular point. In rugby, it's not really possible to nick a score and then defend, for the rest of the game and be lucky.
Yes.
If you're not good enough up front and you're getting beaten in the scrum, the line out and whatever then you're going to pay.
Yeah.
Because it's scrums, penalties, players in the bin and so on. So you've got to look at the people who have at least got that there. Now, Wales, I would ordinarily think Wales would do quite well, but their form going in, unless it's extraordinary before the tournament starts, I would still put Australia, even though they've not performed that well in the Rugby Championship, before them, because Australia's record in the World Cup is actually very good. They've never not got out the stages.
No.
And they will make themselves cussedly difficult to beat. I don't think they'll go all the way, but I think in this pool, which is not a strong pool, I think they'll come top and Wales second.
They've had a tough time in the Rugby Championship, but Eddie Jones, of course, like you said as well, also likes World Cup. Very good for a World Cup, and I do agree. I think that Australia have one or two players who are pushing sort of World 15 standard, and I think their first team at full strength could trouble anyone on the day.
It's almost like England. I've got this feeling about England. On the day, they might actually beat anyone, but can they do 4 in a row, which is the final pool game? quarters, semis, final. That I doubt.
Yes. Okay, so and then second in that pool is going to come down to whether Wales can beat both Fiji and Georgia.
I think they will, and the reason I think that is I think Gatland will have them sufficiently well organised, and I put that again down to Fiji. Are Fiji's front five good enough, to withstand pressure in the scrum, to win consistent line-out ball? We know what they can do around the field. Georgia, they will be consistent in the scrum and line-outs, but have they got the overall flair? Probably not. If it came down to a game which was very close, maybe, but if you've got to make a prediction, and I'll still put those two top, I would probably put Fiji third.
Okay. Georgia fourth, and
Portugal.
And Portugal. Okay. That's going to be our first disagreement, I think, but obviously you're the boss, Brian. I think Fiji will beat Wales.
I'm a notoriously bad predictor, by the way, which is why this tour is really good.
Yeah. Okay, Group D, England. There's been a lot of chatter about them. There is sort of a bit of an unknown quantity. How do you see them going?
Yeah, I mean the improvements under Borthwick have been there, but they've been uneven. Argentina, I get this feeling with Argentina. When you look at the championship, they do well. I wonder how strong their depth is for the tournament. That's all. I'm quite convinced that their starting 22, 23 are of good standard. But this is the thing about World Cups. It comes at you every week, and in the pool stages even less than that. So you don't have time. If people get injured, and it's a 1 or 2 week injury, then you've got to look outside the squad, and that's the difficult thing.
Yeah.
And usually it's really fascinating usually to see people how they're manoeuvring their squads and what they've picked. Have they picked 3 scrum halves instead? England picked 2 last time, which was a mistake in my opinion. And how do they cope with that? So I think I'll just put England Argentina for 1, 2.
England Argentina as 1 and 2. So England to win that game first up against Argentina. Then Japan and Samoa, both slightly unknown quantities. Samoa obviously improving a lot and have sort of benefited from sort of more lenient eligibility rules. Japan are sort of very out of form at the minute. I don't think they've won in the whole of 2023.
No, and I mean
they were poor at Twickenham, weren't they?
They put a lot of work in to the last tournament. Obviously,
yeah.
They did really well, but there was a lot of investment gone in from World Rugby. People don't actually know a lot about that, but they gave them a lot of cash to start doing that. So I would take Samoa
third, Japan not to hit the 2019 heights, and then Chile. Okay, so now we move into the quarterfinals.
Just as a general point, I really hope that the sides we've put fifth here, we're not disrespecting them. No. It's just that, as I said, with a game that involves power and sustained power, it is really difficult for underdog sides. To do that.
And it's just wonderful to see them there.
Not least because this happens. Players under pressure commit penalties. They give fouls away, they give penalties, and then they get yellow carded.
Yeah.
If you're against a decent side with 14 men, you're not going to win.
No. I mean, Chile, obviously first World Cup, it's just great to see them there, isn't it?
Yes.
And hopefully they can build on this. Hopefully they can score a few tries as well and maybe ruffle a few feathers with Japan and Samoa. Obviously Uruguay in 2003, they were sort of the whipping boys in 2003, but they scored a couple of tries, and the try scorers in those games are now sort of national rugby heroes.
And I think what you will find, even if we're wrong with a couple of these, maybe Scotland, Fiji, but these games, the intra games between these, will at least be entertaining.
Oh yeah.
In previous World Cups, you've had sides near the bottom where you thought, well, actually, not a great game. All these games between the what we're saying will be the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place players will be decent games. Will be worth watching.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, Fiji, Georgia, Fiji, Uruguay in 2019 were 2 of the games of the tournament.
Yeah.
Uruguay upsetting Fiji, and then Fiji, Georgia having a right ding dong. So hopefully that is mirrored in 2023. So quarterfinals then, not easy.
No, they never are easy. And as I said, that for example, you've got 2. And New Zealand probably. Ireland, if they play absolutely on form with France, you'll never outmuscle South Africa.
No.
The 23 is too big, but New Zealand are cute. And that's what they did in the championship. They moved them around. They blitzed them in the early stuff. So I would have a simple one. I'd go Australia.
Okay.
New Zealand, England, France.
Okay. And you think England will have too much for Wales?
Yes, I do.
In the quarters. Okay, so the semis, it's where it's getting interesting. So only one.
I tell you, it's strange. It's strange in this sense. If you just scroll back up.
Yeah.
this part is really difficult. That part is not as difficult if it goes that way, is it?
No, it's not.
You know,
no, you're
it's
right.
strange the way the draw goes.
Yeah.
It actually gets. It seems to get simpler.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is this: the early matches and the quarters go a long way. So sometimes a draw opens up for you and it's all straightforward. These things are hugely important.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Okay, so semi-finals then. So you think this is more routine?
Oh, I think New Zealand, France.
New Zealand, France. So we are bookending. We're bookending the tournament. It will start and finish with the same game. And your winner?
Well, if France do make it, I think they'll win.
Great. Okay.
I don't really like saying that, but.
And as we can see, we are in the majority here, with 28% of Telegraph readers agreeing with us.
They do produce very good wine. I mean, that's
that is true.
Yeah.
So through Telegraph Sport Predictor, that'll be on YouTube at the link and on our website, Brian has predicted that France will win this year's Rugby World Cup. Thank you very much to Brian.
Thank you
for joining us, and all that is left now is for some cracking rugby matches this autumn and to see if Brian's predictions come true.
Oh, by the way, if you bet money, I'm not responsible, by the way.
And neither am I.